Hey, welcome back, guys, to the Christian Life Network, the Sons of Light. We are offering you intellectual self defense. Everyone now is stuck in these self reinforcing bubbles on social media and within their social groups and on television. They can't find the answers because they're stuck in these paradigms within their churches and within these controlled organizations. We are cutting through the propaganda so that you can defend against the manipulation that has held you in this paradigm. For every serious problem we face, there are feasible answers. And we are going to go over and go through a course. I'm going to give you a free excerpt from the Master's Inner Circle in the teaching Reason to Believe, which goes into the hiding of the millennial kingdom, the rewriting of history, the manipulation of our news, who's behind controlling all the events and the things making our lives miserable, and how we as Christians were given power to not be subject to this, but to overcome it.
Unveiling the Matrix, the reality behind our fabricated world. Imagine you are a real-life Neo from the blockbuster movie The Matrix. Every assumption you hold about your life, your history, and your world is suddenly called into question. Because it's going to be. This isn't just a cinematic thrill ride. This is the proposition of our current reality. The layers of deception coding our perceived world are being peeled back, revealing a disturbing and convoluted mesh of truths and lies orchestrated by invisible powers. This course introduction isn't just a reading exercise. It's an initiation into the stark realities that govern our world behind the scenes. Reason to Believe is not just about conspiracy theories or sensational revelations. It's about urging you to see beyond the veil of normalcy. The altered state that has been created to mold people into trusting the very system out to destroy them. It's about understanding that, like Neo, you might just be living in a fabricated version of reality, controlled and manipulated by forces beyond your immediate perception. Not one of a digital matrix, but of a false paradigm of controlled and manipulated information. As you will learn in Reason to Believe, this is not a conspiracy theory, it is a conspiracy fact. The metaphor of the Matrix splendidly mirrors our societal structure, where reality is painted by the broad strokes of media and education. One merely has to look objectively at who owns the media, who are the CEOs, who pays off congressmen, who funds the NGOs. Where does most of foreign aid money go? Who can you not question under threat of law? Then you may be getting close to recognizing your oppressor. These institutions, dare we say allies, supposed bastions of truth, learning, and camaraderie, often do more to confine our understanding than to expand it. Construct every aspect of life to funnel control and money back to them. There is no institution that has not been corrupted by the greed and monetization of outcome. It is what the Bible warned about. The worship of the god, Mammon. In the fabric of modern society, each thread, each news report, movie, or school lesson intertwines to create a tapestry that can either blind or enlighten. Unfortunately, for the most part, this tapestry serves not to empower, but to enchain minds to a version of reality conducive to the interests of those in power. The recent medical event and the subsequent suffering from following these minions of Mammon has caused the world move to a mass Great Awakening as they push for their Great Reset. Those still blind to this revealing are a public that is often unaware of the bars of their own prison, living out their days within a controlled paradigm, only occasionally sensing that something is amiss. It is a term referred to as a non-player character, or NPC. This cognitive dissonance, where reality doesn't match up with a gut feeling that something is wrong, is the first clue that there's more to the world than meets the eye. Our understanding of history shapes our identity and values. When the accounts of past events are manipulated, it doesn't just change our view of history, it alters our present and future. Historical distortions are evident in the selective teaching of national histories in schools, where often only the victories are highlighted and the moral failures are omitted. These distortions serve a purpose. They create a unified, often nationalistic sentiment among the population, which can be easily directed by those in power. The true complexity of human history, filled with gray areas and uncomfortable truths, is frequently simplified into a binary narrative of good versus evil, us versus them. In our digital age, information is power, and controlling this power means controlling the narrative. Media conglomerates, often owned by entities with vested interests, play a crucial role in shaping public perception. Be your own detective. What do all the owners and CEOs of these organizations have in common? What is the tie that binds? News can be skewed, stories can be selected or omitted, and information can be presented in a way that aligns with specific agendas. Case studies, such as the coverage of political conflicts or economic crises, reveal patterns of propaganda where the media presents a version of the truth that supports certain political or corporate interests. 85% of all news revenue from advertising comes from Big Pharma. But who owns and controls Big Pharma? This orchestration of perception not only misleads the public, but also discourages the pursuit of alternative sources of information, reinforcing the matrix of control. Money moves the world, and those who control the flow of money can guide the fate of nations. Who controls the banks and Big Pharma and the news stations, the New York Times, Google, etc.? Is there a connection? Surely we are all smart. There is no way they could hide it from us. The government would tell us, the news would inform us. Unless what we are being told and what really is are two different things. Our financial systems, characterized by central banks and global financial institutions, dictate economic conditions that influence almost every aspect of our lives, from employment to personal freedom. Who, living in your country, sees you as a lesser person than them, who sees themselves as elite or closer to the divine than you? A superior group, with the self, granted right to rule over you. The global economic policies often benefit the wealthy elite while keeping the majority in a state of dependency. You rely on water from the city, power from the city, food from corporate farmers, digitized money, censored news and information from the TV, and school systems that ignore the rights and will of parents. Is there any centralized wealth or an organized group with a political or religious ideology that they should rule over you? For example, international debt mechanisms bind countries to financial terms that influence their domestic policies, favoring foreign investors over local welfare. All one must do is turn the page of history to see if what is happening now has happened in countries in recent history, and determine if the same hand was at play there as is at work here. Politics is not just the art of governance, but also the science of manipulation. Behind the democratic facades, the corridors of power are rife with deceit, where elected officials often serve the interests of their benefactors rather than those of the public. Ask yourself how America went from requiring an oath that one was a Protestant Christian in order to serve in public office, to an outright media warfare on the idea that one is even a Christian at all. Who in our halls of justice and keyboards of media productions publicly rejects Christianity? If you believe it is this or that media-contrived group placed before you at the forefront of controversy, look at who funds and organizes these groups. You may find the source is all the same. Hidden agendas are omnipresent in global politics, whether it's pushing for wars under the guise of spreading democracy, or enacting laws that disproportionately benefit the elite. Ask who benefits financially and as a country, who in the past 70 years has been the greatest benefactor of the debt America paid for getting into World War II, It surely was not the young men's families who suffered by the orchestrating of Christian Americans killing Christian Germans, and vice versa. Who was behind orchestrating the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia that led to the deaths of 100 million Christians and the initiation of World War II? The manipulation of public sentiment to support these agendas demonstrates a disturbing exploitation of trust and power. The digital revolution, while bringing the world closer, has also opened up new avenues for surveillance. The same technology that enables smartphones and internet connections also allows for unprecedented monitoring of personal activities. This erosion of privacy has been justified under the pretext of security and convenience. But the reality is a panopticon-like state where your data, from shopping habits to personal conversations, can be easily accessed and analyzed, often without your consent or knowledge. Does someone carrying out just truthful and beneficial causes for humanity need to monitor and control your every thought? But an evil agenda conceals itself and fears being exposed. Public opinion is the bedrock of democratic republics, but what if this new foundation is being based on misinformation? Techniques such as astroturfing, where artificial grassroots movements are created by corporations, and echo chambers on social media manipulate public opinion to serve specific interests. This manipulation is not just limited to political realms, but extends to consumer behavior and social norms, where what is popular or accepted might just be a carefully crafted illusion. Education should be a liberating force, but too often it is used as a tool for conformity and mental enslavement. Schools often prioritize rote learning and obedience over critical thinking and questioning, which are essential for an informed and engaged citizenry. This lack of emphasis on critical thinking creates generations of individuals who are less likely to question the structures and information presented to them, perpetuating the cycle of control. America was one of the top intellectual nations in the world. Since World War II, America has fallen to one of the lowest. What happened that gave any group unfettered control and unquestionable ability to do what they wished in America, that rerouted the moral, Christian-centered, most powerful nation on earth to the state it is in? What role did Christians have in helping it happen? Religions and ideologies are powerful tools for shaping beliefs and behaviors. By indoctrinating individuals from a young age, these systems can align large populations with specific values and goals, often under the guise of moral or spiritual superiority of any certain group. This control can lead to societal divisions and even conflicts when different belief systems clash, all while the underlying power structures continue to benefit from the discord. Infighting amongst Christians is encouraged, and heavy infiltration or the most immoral ideologies keep being pushed into the Christian church, while a certain group goes unchallenged and unquestioned in its actions. Untouchable, unquestionable, praised, prayed for, supported, died for, while rejecting the God of the very founders of America and every Christian nation. In a consumer-driven society, choice is often touted as a symbol of freedom. However, this choice is frequently an illusion, carefully crafted to give a sense of control while guiding decisions along predetermined paths. From political elections to supermarket shelves, the options available are often just variations of the same underlying product, managed by the same conglomerates. This illusion maintains the status quo, keeping real transformative choices off the table. Fear is a primal and potent tool of control. By amplifying threats, whether they be terrorists, diseases, or social instability, those in power can justify extraordinary measures that would otherwise be unacceptable. Historical examples, like the Red Scare, or contemporary issues like terrorism, demonstrate how fear can erode civil liberties and foster a climate of compliance and surveillance. Awakening from this matrix of control begins with awareness. Recognizing the fabricated layers of reality we are presented with is the first step towards true freedom. Individuals around the world are starting to question the narratives fed to them from various channels. This awareness is a beacon of hope, signaling the potential for a shift from passive receivers of information to active seekers of truth. Every individual has a role to play in dismantling the matrix. By fostering personal responsibility and critical thinking, each person can contribute to a larger wave of change. It starts with questioning the status quo, seeking multiple sources of information, and being vigilant about the influences in our lives. This empowerment is essential for the creation of a society that values truth over comfort. We must stop fight over what they give us to fight about and focus on fighting the orchestrators of pain. We assure you it is a repeated plan that has been carried out in over 100 countries over the past millennium. They figured it out, why can't you? The fear of being called a name, being told you are insensitive, human trafficking is the #1 crime in the once great Christian nation of America. Yet the organized churches say nothing, the news nothing, Christians in social discussions nothing. Our matrix is not run by a computer, but by a group of well-organized, centrally focused, unlimitedly funded, driven by greed and hatred for all others organization. As we peel back the layers of deception, the path forward requires vigilance and a commitment to truth. The number of naturopathic doctors who discover cures for diseases and suddenly die, or the inventors of engines that run on water and are found poisoned to death, should reach an outrage point. As this group grows increasingly desperate, they plan to herd all of you in controlled 15-minute cities, where you are imprisoned from leaving while they travel the earth enjoying all it has to offer. And you, of course, the ones allowed to live as their slaves. The challenges are significant, but the stakes, our freedom, our rights, and our very perception of truth are too important to ignore. Reason to Believe is banned from being released fully on social media as a subject to politically incorrect. We must strive for a world where information is free and accessible, where power is held accountable, and where individuals are encouraged to think critically and independently. Only then can we hope to step out of the shadows of manipulation and into the light of understanding and true freedom. If you would like free access to read the introduction to this valuable source of life-changing information, we have made a link available in the description box of this video. Please leave your comments as our organization is doing its best to educate and organize saving our nations.